What if the secret to achieving more was actually doing less? Sounds contradictory, doesn't it? For years, we've been conditioned to believe that success comes from extreme effort, exhaustion, and the mindset of work while they sleep. But what if that idea is wrong? What if, in reality, excessive effort is pushing us further away from the best results? Our world is obsessed with productivity. Working longer hours, doing more tasks, speeding up the pace, it all seems logical, but science proves otherwise. What few people know is that there is a natural principle called the law of least effort, which governs both physics and neuroscience, and it can transform the way you work and live. In this video, we will explore how this law manifests in our brain, in nature, and even in our daily routines. You'll discover why some of the greatest minds in history, from Einstein to Steve Jobs, didn't work harder, but worked smarter. We'll understand how neuroscience proves that cycles of rest and recovery are essential for true performance and how quantum physics suggests that natural systems always seek the path of least resistance. But before diving into the science behind it all, we need to break down one of the biggest myths of modern life, the idea that more effort always leads to better results. Are we truly being productive, or just busy? Is the relentless pursuit of success actually pulling us away from real progress? If you've ever felt that, despite all your effort, you haven't reached your full potential, then this video is for you. Let's explore how slowing down might actually be the key to moving forward. We believe that productivity means always being busy. From an early age, we're taught that the more we work, the closer we are to success. The problem is that this mindset has created a culture where rest is seen as laziness and extreme effort is worn like a badge of honor. But does that really make sense? Studies show that working long consecutive hours doesn't increase productivity, on the contrary, it drastically reduces it. A study from Stanford University revealed that after 50 hours per week, performance drops so much that working more makes no significant difference. That's because the human brain is not designed to function under continuous exhaustion. Modern society glorifies hustle culture, where breaks are seen as weakness and multitasking is considered a sign of efficiency. But this mentality comes at a high cost: burnout, anxiety, and reduced cognitive capacity. When we're constantly busy, we don't give our brain the time it needs to consolidate information, create new connections, and operate at its peak performance. And it's not just neuroscience that proves this. Companies around the world have begun to realize that less effort can lead to greater results. Microsoft Japan, for example, tested a 4-day workweek and saw a 40% increase in productivity. Fewer hours, better results. What explains this? The answer lies in how the human brain works. It wasn't built for constant effort but rather for alternating between periods of focus and rest. When we respect this cycle, true productivity happens without excessive strain. And this is where the law of least effort comes in. Instead of constantly pushing at full force, we must learn to use energy intelligently. But to better understand this concept, we need to look at science. What do neuroscience and quantum physics say about natural efficiency? How does nature teach us to be productive without exhaustion? In the next chapter, we'll explore how the law of least effort works in practice and how we can apply it to improve our daily performance. If we observe nature, we'll notice a surprising pattern: everything functions in the most efficient way possible. Water doesn't climb hills, it flows through the path of least resistance. Birds don't fight against the wind, they use it to glide. Even our own bodies follow this logic. When we learn a new movement, our muscles find the most efficient way to execute it. This fundamental principle, known as the law of least effort, is not just a metaphor, it is a physical and biological principle that governs everything around us. Quantum physics gives us an interesting clue about this. Natural systems, whether electrons in orbit or galaxies expanding, always follow the path of least energy. This concept also applies to our brain. Neuroscience proves that the brain seeks patterns to save effort, which explains why habits are so powerful and why our minds resist abrupt changes. Our brain functions in cycles. It alternates between states of high attention and periods of recovery, a process called the ultradian rhythm. Working against this rhythm, forcing continuous effort, causes fatigue, poor information retention, and drains creativity. Neuroscience shows that when we respect these natural cycles, we can accomplish more in less time. And this doesn't apply just to mental performance. Psychologists from the University of Chicago studied athletes and artists and found that those who reached the state of flow, a deep concentration state where everything seems to happen effortlessly, weren't putting in more effort but were rather finding the right rhythm of action. It's in this state that productivity reaches its peak, without mental resistance or emotional exhaustion. But if the law of least effort is already present in nature and in our own bodies, why do we keep ignoring it? The answer lies in the mindset we adopt. We've been taught that work only has value if it's hard and that productivity requires sacrifice. The problem is that this approach leads to burnout, while those who understand how to operate with natural efficiency move forward without exhausting themselves. Now that we understand the science behind the law of least effort, how can we apply it in daily life? In the next chapter, we'll explore practical strategies to work smarter, not harder, from science-backed techniques to simple habits that can transform your productivity. Now that we understand the science behind least effort, the big question arises: how can we apply this principle in real life? How can we work more efficiently without burning out? The answer lies in simple yet highly effective strategies that leverage the brain's natural functioning. The first is the Pomodoro method. Instead of trying to stay productive for hours on end, this technique proposes short bursts of intense work followed by strategic breaks. Studies show that the brain maintains peak focus for about 25 minutes before needing a brief rest. This approach helps prevent mental fatigue and maintains a consistent level of efficiency throughout the day. Another powerful approach is mindfulness. It might seem counterintuitive, but slowing down and focusing on the present moment reduces mental distractions and improves decision-making. When we practice mindfulness and train our attention, we complete tasks faster and more accurately, without the exhaustion of multitasking. Sleep also plays a fundamental role in this process. Getting enough rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for cognitive performance. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories, processes information, and reorganizes ideas. Some of the greatest minds in science and technology, like Einstein and Jeff Bezos, have always prioritized rest as a key part of their productive routines. Speaking of great minds, many historical figures incorporated creative idleness into their lives. Einstein would take long walks while reflecting on his theories. Bill Gates has his famous Think Week, where he isolates himself to reflect and generate innovative ideas. What these people understood is that breaks are not wasted time, they are essential for connecting ideas and fostering creativity. But to truly incorporate the law of least effort into our daily routine, we need to change our mindset. Instead of measuring productivity by the number of hours worked, we should focus on the quality of time invested. Small adjustments, such as setting intentional break times, reducing distractions, and respecting the brain's natural cycles, can make a significant difference in both efficiency and well-being. If scientists, CEOs, and top-level artists already use this approach, why do we still resist it? In the next chapter, we'll break down the fear of slowing down and explore why so many people feel guilty when they rest, and how to change this for good. Even with all the scientific evidence, many people still feel guilty about resting. There's a sense of obligation to always be busy, as if productivity is tied to the time invested rather than the quality of work completed. But this mindset isn't natural, it's something we've been taught. From an early age, we're conditioned to believe that rest is laziness and that success only comes from extreme effort. This creates a cycle where we're constantly busy but not necessarily efficient. The question is, are we truly producing, or just overloading ourselves? Neuroplasticity provides an interesting answer. Our brain is shaped by the habits we repeat. If we grow up believing that slowing down is wrong, we naturally feel anxious when we try to rest. But this mindset can be reprogrammed. Scientists have discovered that small changes in how we approach time can alter our perception of work and rest. And this doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities or working less, it means working smarter. The key is learning to distinguish movement from progress. Not all activity leads to advancement. Many times, we're just filling time without any real impact on the final result. But how can we shift this mindset in practice? First, we need to give ourselves permission to slow down. This might mean scheduling intentional breaks throughout the day, organizing work more efficiently, or simply accepting that rest is part of the process. The greatest innovators in history understood this, and that's why they achieved extraordinary results. By breaking the belief that more effort always leads to more success, we make room for a new productivity model, one that respects the natural functioning of the brain and body. Now that we understand the importance of this shift, we arrive at the most crucial point: how do we start applying this in daily life? In the next chapter, we'll recap the key concepts and introduce a practical challenge to help you experiment with this approach.